Teysa Orzhov Scion versus Thrun, the Last Troll. We have a land tax and a Sol Ring in our opening hand, as well as a fetch line for fixing, so I think we will keep this. We could go into a turn 2 Cryptghast, so I think we have to play the Sol Ring out now. Thrun the Last Troll is a 4/4 Troll Shaman. For 4 mana, it can't be countered, it has hexproof, and it's 2 to regenerate it. Usually in Thrun decks you tend to see Voltron style decks. Tend to see Thrun getting equipped up with big equipments and auras and things like that. But it could just as easily be green good stuff. A lot of mono green decks tend to just be green good stuff. Our deck, Teysa Orzhov Scion, is a 2/3 for 3 mana. Sack 3 white creatures, exile a target creature. Whenever a black creature you control dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So in a way, Teysa sort of pays for herself. Not pays for herself, but feeds into her own ability is what I'm trying to say. Go for Teysa here. We're not going to extort because I want to get out the Phyrexian Arena. Go for the scrub land off of this, which of course will be another swamp. And I think actually we would like the Carrion Feeder, so Phyrexian Arena, no extort. And into the Carrion Feeder. And now we can't pay for the extort. Noteworthy that our opponent has a Sword of Light and Shadow on the field, which will could give us a hard time. Protection from a lot of our creatures. And protection from our commander. But we do have an Utter End in hand, so we could have our opponent waste 2 mana equipping that next turn and then go to exile it, assuming it will go on Thrun the Last Troll, of course. We're running pretty low on cards now, so good that we've got Phyrexian Arena to refill our hand. May well add a little bit of life gain into this deck and then replace Phyrexian Arena with Necropotence, or run both of them. Not too sure yet. And unfortunately can't cast the Gilded Lotus and hold up Utter End. So I think what we'll do here is we can raise the alarm next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we can't. So we might as well cast Lantax here and just hold up the Utter End. Not going to extort our opponent. So this will encourage our opponent to waste 2 mana equipping the Sword of Light and Shadow onto Thrun the Last Troll. Okay, that is another problem card. Thankfully we have at least 2 white creatures to sack to Teysa to get rid of that Ovenwall Tracker. This card allows our opponent to fight creatures that we have on our side of the field. I think we'll respond there with the Utter End, get rid of the Sword of Light and Shadow. And we will extort our opponent, because we have nothing else to do with that mana. And now our opponent just has coloured land. Not sure why they use their green mana. Our opponent now can't regenerate Thrun. So if we are going to draw into a kill spell, now would be a good time to do that. Our opponent does have more lands than us now, so we can at least fill our hand with land cards. Want to always yield to that, but not always yes. We want a couple of swamps and a plain should do it. The swamps, of course, feeding into Cryptghast nicely, and of course we draw into another land. Get out the Gilded Lotus, get out even more mana here. And we'll pay the Extort trigger. Now the question is here, do we sack the Carrion Feeder in order to give Teysa a spirit to get rid of the Ulvenwald tracker? I think we have to do that because Thrun will just be able to kill anything on board basically. And Naginata, oh Naginata, gives our opponent's creatures trample, or the equipped creatures trample. I think we have to sack the Carrion Feeder to itself here. That doesn't feel good. It's not nice to have 0 sack outlets on the field with Teysa. But we do have to answer that Ulvenwald tracker before it loses summoning sickness. So we'll get rid of that now. And hope that we draw into something next turn. 2 card draws next turn will hopefully give us something to do. We've got the mana to cast anything in our deck now, I think. What have we got? 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 next turn if we play a swamp. We've got plenty of white mana off the Gilded Lotus, so hopefully don't rip a couple of lands off the top of our deck with Phyrexian Arena. It's a worthwhile tactic, I think, against mono green to use land tax to fill our hand with lands, and then we can just ditch lands at the end of the turn, thinning out our deck and encouraging card draw of something that's actually worthwhile. Just going to take the 7 commander damage here. Can't do that more than once more, because we will be up to 7 commander damage then, of course. Opponent going for the Phyrexian Arena, so we only have 1 card to draw next turn. Let's make it something good after the land tax trigger. Land tax trigger. I think Blood Artist is not superb either. Play plains here just to make sure that we always have access to white. Because if our opponent blows up our Gilded Lotus, then we might be struggling on white for the rest of the game, but this amount of plains should be okay. So a fistful of lands. I'm assuming our opponent has kept track of how much we've drawn with land tax, or how much we've searched up with land tax, but they might play around a Source of Plowshares or something like that if they haven't kept track properly. Luckily, regenerate doesn't help when you can exile creatures. Wouldn't be completely opposed to a board wipe right now, to be honest. Oh, and a Genesis Wave for 6. Luckily not the best Genesis Wave I've ever seen. But 9 mana for 6 permanents is never terrible. Definitely would like a board wipe now, especially with that Fauna Shaman on the battlefield. Although I'm not sure how much use it'll be with 1 card in hand for our opponent. opponent coming in again, and it really is do or die now because we can't take another hit like that from Thrun. We're going to have to start throwing in chump blockers, and Thrun, thanks to the equipment, has trample. So we'll see what we draw into here. Going to say yes to this just to thin out our deck as described earlier on. And the Toxic Deluge, we called it up, so what do we need to do it for? We need to do it for at least 4. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 1, so 4 mana. And Thrun can't be regenerated off of the Toxic Deluge. And how much it Teysa hasn't died this game, I don't think. So she'll be 5 to put out, which we've got plenty of mana to do. We should probably, just in case, we'll tap our mana, or our swamps anyway. And we'll pay 4 life and hope that our opponent doesn't have a giant growth or something like that. And we get a lot of Blood Artist triggers off of those deaths. Don't know how much difference they're going to make in this game, but you never know. I think it's more commander damage that we're worried about, to be honest. And I wish there was a way to put all these, especially in 1v1, I wish there was a way to put all these triggers on the same opponent. It's not like we're likely to target ourselves with Blood Artist. And of course we get the 1/1 white spirit creature tokens. Can play a swamp for the turn and cast out Teysa. Okay, and we have absolutely nothing else to do. Bought ourselves a little bit of time there, so just have to keep hoping that we actually draw into something, ditch a plains, and put these cards in order for everyone out there who is a little bit of the obsessive compulsive inclined. Our opponent getting out a Duskwatch Recruiter and a Thrun, and the Naginata. It's 2 to equip. I'll say yes to this to clear out the few lands that we have left in the deck. We have 3 lands left. And Painter's Servant is excellent if we have another white source, which I think Teysa can sacrifice herself actually. We'll say black. And unfortunately Thrun does have hexproof, but we can chump block in response next turn. Yeah, I think we chump block in response next turn, and then if we feel the need to, we can sacrifice everything. Do we just do that now? I think it would be nice to get rid of the werewolf, to be honest. Yes, we want to sacrifice Teysa to her own ability. And then we want to get to the point where we're at the exact same board presence that we were at just a second ago. So we have to pay 7 mana. Alright, now if our opponent plays out anything else, we can do that again. We can't do it against Thrun, unfortunately. But we can chump block with a spirit, and Teysa will give us a spirit straight back, because we have the Painter's Servant on the field, which makes everything black. And whenever Teysa sees that a black creature dies, it puts out a white spirit flying creature token. Our opponent has the equipment back on Thrun, so we do have to block here or we're going to die to commander damage. I think we just gang up on it here, just to kill it off. We can't block it anyway. We do have an Arcane Lighthouse in this deck to deal with Hexproof and Shroud, but at least the spirits will replace themselves. We'll just have to dump 9 mana if we want to get Teysa out again. Really on the back foot here in this game. I don't know how much Thrun will cost now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's died twice, has it? Yes, okay. So Thrun comes back out with a big threat of the equipment next turn. Again, just in top deck mode, waiting for something good to decide it's going to show up. Lantax can do nothing for us now. Stoneforge Mystic can get us Skull Clamp. So how much mana have we got here? We've got 4, 8, 10, 13, 9 to get out the Gilded Lotus, 9 to get out the Teysa even, and then Stoneforge for Skull Clamp. But I don't think we survive through till next turn, do we? Well, why don't we just try that? Because we need to get some card draw on the go. We have been quite unlucky with our draws in this game. Slowly managing to get back into it. If we can just hold off Thrun for as long as we can. And again, the spirits and even Stoneforge now will be replaced with a spirit. The spirits themselves will be replaced with more spirits. You basically have an unlimited supply of spirit tokens when you have Painter's Servant or the Darkest Hour in play. And then if you have a means of doubling the number of tokens that are produced, then you're on easy street. I think we just concentrate on not dying to commander damage. Hero of Bladehold is good, but I don't know if it's too little too late now. We really need to keep trample off of our opponent's commander. And there's plenty of artifact removal in this deck, it's just a case of finding it now. Thankfully we've cleared out a lot of lands from our library, so hopefully we can actually draw into a Disenchant or Anguished Unmaking or anything like that. The opponent only has 2 cards in hand, but plenty of mana, I'm sure, to cast anything that they might draw into. Equipping the Naginata. And going straight in for the kill. So in order to survive this we need to block 4, 5 of it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to throw up Teysa yet again. That's unfortunate. I'd rather not do that, to be honest. If we had it, the fact that Thrun has hexproof is absolutely relevant in this game. If we could get hexproof off of Thrun, then we could quite easily deal with it with these infinite spirit tokens that we now have. But we don't. I think Teysa is up to 11 now. We have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Once we play the land next turn. Decree of Pain. That's interesting. I think Thrun will be 10 to cast again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So our opponent does have that. But we will draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards off of that. But I do want to keep the Painter's Servant. That's tricky. Why don't I just try out the Skull Clamp a few times, see what we can draw into here. Artifact removal would be nice. Read the Bones is... Alright, we'll go for a Read the Bones just because of the scry. Darksteel Mutation doesn't help us because of Hexproof. Austere Command... Well, we have Decree of Pain, so... No, I think we do just want to try really, really hard to get some artifact removal here. We'll go all in on the artifact removal plan, I think. Karmic Guide, does that get anything for us? I don't think it does, other than Stoneforge. Crypt Ghast. Yeah, that's for after the board wipe, I think. How much mana do we need for that? 6, 7, 8, 4. Yeah, we don't have any more mana. Actually, we can play a land. Alright, let's play a land and go for one more Skull Clamp, seeing as how we're going to wipe the board anyway. They can't be regenerated, just make sure of that. Decree of Pain. We get Sun Titan, so that's even more, and Cabal Coffers is relevant. So we'll go for Decree of Pain here. We will see it next turn. Thrun the last troll, but I think we might be getting to a point now where we can actually... We've got way more cards than our opponent anyway. Okay, can't be regenerated. But that's fine. Our opponent has nothing else to do. And we draw into the Darkest Hour, which effectively replaces the Painter's Servant that we've just lost, which is excellent with Skull Clamp on the battlefield. We might be able to go for some kind of Aristocrat's Win here. Zulaport Cutthroat. Yeah, Shriekmore's no good. I think we've got enough mana. Although it is a sack outlet. You can get rid of that. These. Ranger of Eos, I don't think we care about anything. Yeah, Ashnod's Altar. Oh, we've got to get down 2 cards. Well, we can get back Zulaport with the Sun Titan. And we'll ditch another Plains. Obviously the swamps are more valuable to us now that we have Cabal Coffers. We'll be playing that next turn. Tap down the Cabal Coffers and the Sol Ring, and that will net us 6 black mana, 7 black mana once we've played the swamp turn after. Guessing our opponent's just going to go straight for the Thrun here. It's a real tug of war, and thankfully our opponent doesn't have the mana to equip the equipment, but that doesn't really matter. It's negligible. It can happen next turn almost immediately, so ultimately doesn't really matter. Enlightened Shooter. Do we want something to have haste? Zulaport Cutthroat, Shriekmore. Let me just extend this graveyard here. A Carrion Feeder, a Blood Artist, a Crypt Ghast, a Stoneforge, Painter's Servant, Shriekmaw. I don't think there's anything we care about in the graveyard, to be honest. I think we definitely want to play the Cabal Coffers. Let's see how much our commander is. I think it's 11? 9, 10, 11. So let's see how much mana we have. We've got 6 off the Cabal Coffers. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That would leave 5, 6, 7 mana for a Lingering Souls would be good. Or no, it wouldn't be good because I think we just need to get the Sun Titan out, to be honest. And then we can Enlighten Tutor for a Lightning Greaves and play Hero Blade Hold and start getting a lot of tokens out. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we can do. The Hexproof is really hurting us here, to be honest. Make sure that we have enough white mana to do all this. But what do we want to get off of the... I think we just go for Stoneforge Mystic to get the Lightning Greaves. And then we could play Darkest Hour. To replace the Painter's Servant, although we could swing in with Sun Titan if we really care about getting the Painter's Servant next turn. And here we get the Lightning Greaves. Put a hold on our upkeep for the Enlighten Tutor next turn. As for now, I think we just get out the Darkest Hour. So with the Sun Titan, we can block a lot of damage coming in from Thrun next turn. And hopefully our opponent doesn't have a beast within or something like that. Okay, Birds of Paradise is no problem. I don't care about Birds of Paradise. And anything. Okay, tapping for. I was just going to say anything that aren't a Crater Hoof Behemoth. So that, I think, is game there. Because our opponent can push through enough damage. Maybe not. There's that 5 damage that needs to get through. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we can just block with the Sun Titan and the Stoneforge. So that is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 2 commander damage coming through there. Now our actual life total is a threat here, or it's under threat is what I'm trying to say. Talking is difficult when you're trying to play at the same time. Now, can Enlighten Tutor actually get anything for us here? We can Skull Clamp like crazy, and we can kill both our opponent's creatures. So I don't know what we would want to Enlighten Tutor for, to be honest. I think I'll go for it anyway, just because we're going to draw so many cards anyhow. Bitter Blossom, no. Mana Crypt, no. Recurring Nightmare is the best thing, I think. I think we go Recurring Nightmare. And we can go... Actually, before we do the Cabal Coffers, we play the Swamp. And then Cabal Coffers. We can go for a Karmic Guide. Karmic Guide gets back Sun Titan, which gets back an aristocrat piece, which in this case will be Blood Artist. We do want to do that. And then I think we get out the Lightning Greaves. We'll swing in with the Sun Titan and get Zulaport Cutthroat. And I think we'll get out Lingering Souls. Just for more spirits to sacrifice. We'll get Lightning Greaves onto the Sun Titan to swing in. We'll probably see a chump block from our opponent. Go for a Zulaport Cutthroat off of the Sun Titan. We'll say always yes and always yield. I think we might be able to get this one off of the... All depends if our opponent blocks here. They should block. Yeah. But what we can do is we can at least kill off the Crater Hoof Behemoth that our opponent has. And we'll just draw a load of cards now, as well as draining our opponent. Always yield to that, just to speed things up. And as you can see, the spirits are just replacing themselves thanks to the Darkest Hour. So we can now draw 2 cards. For 1 mana, we're drawing 2 cards and draining our opponent for 2 each time. And as well as all this, we can still effectively cast. And there we go, our opponent sees. Good game to our opponent. They had us on the ropes for that entire game. It was just lucky that we kept drawing into mana, because eventually we did get into the cards we need to manage to pull out a win. What we were doing there was using the 1 mana from the Skull Clamp to kill off a spirit. The spirit replaced itself, so we could do it again. But we were also drawing 2 cards, draining our opponent for 1 from the Zulaport, 1 from the Blood Artist, and it went down to 0 that way. Plus have a load of cards in hand as well, just to top it off. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was an entertaining game, I feel. We managed to pull a win out of nowhere. We didn't really deserve to win that. We weren't drawing into much at the beginning of the game, but it just shows that you don't quit. Don't give up. Be like John Cena. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.